Sunday. It's not Tuesday, it's Sunday, and we are on because I'm just going to be real transparent. I need to get on lives more on YouTube. So I realized that one time a week is not enough, and I need to do this more often. I really enjoy, talking to everybody. I appreciate the love, the comments, um, and so why not? So Tuesday or Wednesday's live, because I went Wednesday instead of Tuesday. We talked about avoidance, and I realized something. And you know what? Before I even start that, I want to give a shout out again to Sarah, because Sarah went into the comments and really poured her heart out and was very transparent about where she was mentally, about dealing with some grief, and she was just willing to just be transparent and vulnerable because she needed this space. And I really just appreciate her trusting me, trusting this community with sharing that information, and then even moving forward to listening and getting the help she needed, and reaching out to a friend, reaching out to someone that she hadn't even thought about that could be a support to her. So shout out to you, Sarah. Thank you so much. And I want to send you so much light and love and just abundance of health. And I know that everything is going to work out for you and your family. That this is just, something that clearly, things happen in life and we lose people. But I think the greatest power for us comes in pain, and we get so many breakthroughs because of the things that we go through. And then we get to tell our testimony, and we also get to help other people that may be experiencing the same thing once we get through it and we go through healing. Um, so we talked about avoidance, and one of the things that really hit me was trust, right? Thinking about trust in a bigger sense of how, if we don't trust ourselves, going through things, going through life, going through experiences, then that's going to connect to us not trusting ourselves with money, not trusting ourselves in relationships, not trusting ourselves maybe in our careers and being an employee or owning your own business. All of that ties together. And for me, what I thought about is the trust I feel like in myself was somehow, I don't really want to use the word broken, but it was cut, or it was capped. That's a better word. It was capped at some point, and I believe it was when I was a child, right? The trauma that I went through, the things that I experienced, that capped the trust that I have in myself. Even if, somebody hurt me, right, or did something to me, and I didn't really have any control over them hurting me. Most of the times when we experience things, when we experience hurt, and trauma and things like that at the hands of another person, usually the mind wants to tell you that is your fault, that you were susceptible to it, you were open to something that happened to you, and we know that that's not true. But that is a part of that protection, I think, mechanism that comes in, because when anything happens to us, a lot of times we go to wanting to blame ourselves. Yes, we may be angry or upset at the other person, but the perspective is we turn it into ourselves, and we start examining ourselves and start thinking about what we did wrong. So then that causes us to lose trust in ourselves. Can I really trust my decisions? Can I really trust myself in this situation? Can I trust myself to do this? And then we start looking for external things, people, places, all these other things to fill us up, thinking that it's going to help us trust ourselves more, and that's just not the case. So, so for me, I feel like The trust that I had in myself was kept a long time based on the trauma and experiences that I had been through with other people. And so I feel like as I grew up, I stopped trusting myself, which goes directly into my self-worth. Trusting myself to make decisions, right? Always needing an external validation from someone else to tell me that something was okay. And needing external validation for it to feel like that's where I was going to receive my value. Because the fact of the matter is, I didn't trust myself. I didn't trust myself even with the partner that I chose, for instance. I think a lot of times in relationships, we get into arguments, we get into disagreements, and really the bottom line is, do you trust yourself? When you have someone that has experienced, let's just say, like levels of having relationships where the other person cheated on them, right? So yes, the person that got cheated on is going to be angry, is going to be mad, but the majority of the time you start questioning who you are. You start questioning the trust in yourself. Like, why would they do that to me? Maybe there's something wrong with me. Maybe I'm not enough. Maybe this, maybe that. All of these thoughts that we have is really because of our internal system and how we really trust ourselves. And so I thought about that trust just in all the areas of my life, even like as an entrepreneur and building a business. Like, can I really trust myself to do the thing that I feel like God created me to do, to provide impact, to provide the knowledge that I have, to be able to learn more, to experience more? Like, do I really trust myself? Can I trust myself to build a business, to pay employees, to create, to do all of these things? And I realized part of the journey that I've been on is discovering, learning how to trust myself again. Because as I have gained this confidence in knowing who I am, and discovering that all of the things that I've been through in life, I'm still standing. So I had to relearn how to trust myself. And the more that I started trusting myself the last few years, the more confidence that I've gained. The more awakening that I've had, the less BS that I decided to take. The more I realized how important my environment is and the people that I listen to. And because I stopped needing so much external validation for me to think that I was really trusting myself, asking people, is it okay for me to do this? Or what do you think about this? And I'll no, like, it's okay for me to make a decision. Yes, it is no problem with me asking someone's opinion about my life, but at the end of the day, it's my life. It's at the end of the day, it's my life, and I am the creator of it. And so I know that I'm not alone, and I know that if you resonate with me, then I know you know what I'm talking about. Because that lack of trust that I feel like I was dealing with for so long, it had me in an anxious space. Because when you don't trust yourself, you don't know, like, just regular decisions that you make in life, is it the right thing? You may question everything. And then you're not even just questioning yourself, you're questioning those around you, your spouse, your family, your friends. Everybody is almost like a bit of paranoia, right? Because I feel like the less self-trust you have, almost the more anxiety you have, which means the more paranoia you have. Because if you don't trust yourself, then how can you even begin to trust other people? So I want to say that in order to trust yourself again, you have to learn who you are. You have to start remembering who you are. You have to start really facing yourself in the mirror and finding all of the beautiful things about yourself, all of the beautiful things that other people tell you you are that you still may not believe. You have to find those things in yourself to start trusting yourself again, to start really learning who you are in this moment. I was thinking about something the other day, and I thought that we spend so much time chasing our past selves that like our youth and who we really are in the present. So like all of the experiences that we have, all of the things that we've been through, I think a lot of times we always think back to like, oh, that was such a great time that I had, and I wish I could go back to that time. I wish I could be that person again. But what is wrong with who you are now? Like all of those things that you've been through, all of those experiences that you've had, like who you are in the present gives you the value that you have. Trust in this person, who you are now. Trust your confidence in who you are now. No, none of us always make whatever the right decision it is. But I don't even like the terms right and wrong or good and bad, to be honest, because whatever it is, it is. And sometimes you think that you make a decision and you're supposed to navigate this way, but really life wants you to go this way. We don't always have the plan. We may have the vision as creators for what we're creating, but we don't always know the plan to get there. So trust yourself. Trust yourself as a mother. Trust yourself as a father. Trust yourself as a brother, a sister, a spouse. Trust you. The more you trust yourself, the more confidence you gain, the more you'll start loving who you are. I truly believe that a lot of us that are in relationships, in romantic relationships, a lot of the problem is the trust that we have in us. I think back to my own, marriage and think about the relationship between me and my ex-husband. And yes, while we had issues and problems, everybody does in relationships, right? I think that honestly, though, I think that we contribute to it, and I think that we make things harder than it is with relationships. I think a lot of us like drama, but that's a whole nother conversation. Whole point is that there were times when I know, that I was not trusting myself in a relationship, and it directly impacted how I treated him, my behavior, because of my own not trust of myself, my own insecurity, all of those things that I projected onto him. And so I thought about relationships, and made me think about how we communicate about finances and all of those things. And I'm like, a lot of this comes from us just not having trust in who we are. Sometimes, especially when it comes to your partners, you don't really want to say the thing. And it's not that you don't want to say the thing because you're more worried about hurting the other person. Most people don't want to say the thing because they're worried about being judged. Because ultimately they may not trust who they are. They may not trust in themselves enough to know that what they need to say to their partner is valuable. Is something that needs to be said. So then it just stays there, and the weight stays there, and we just walk over it and pretend like it doesn't exist. And all that weight and all that stuff we just keep dumping all over the pile, it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger until it snowballs. I know for me, my next partnership, my next relationship, I know I have to show up differently. I already have shown up differently to me. But I have to stay conscious, because that shadow self, that old self, that Danielle that still exists, and I love her, the one that didn't trust herself because she was hurt, all these things happened to her that she's grown up with, she's still there, but like I said, she can't make decisions for me. So I have to show up differently in my relationships. I have to have way more emotional intelligence. I have to have the hugest, greatest amount of trust in myself, being transparent with myself, loving myself, knowing my value, knowing my worth, because that is going to be the greatest gift that I can give my partner, is to know that I trust me so that I can trust him in who he is. So that's the word for today. Trust. Love yourself, trust yourself, know your value. Write everything down that you know is great about you. All of the things, because we are so quick to point out all of the negative things about ourselves, or the things that we can improve, or the things that we feel like make us not good enough, or the things that we want to do that create comparison. So do the opposite. Instead of always thinking about who you're not, think about who you are. Think about how much of a blessing you are to someone, because I know there is at least one person that you are a blessing to. Tap into that energy. Start trusting your decisions more. The indecisiveness. It's okay sometimes not to know, but stand on your decision that you make in your life and stop worrying about what other people think, because guess what? Other people have their own lives to live, and they are doing the same thing you're doing. They are just getting through it, going through it, figuring out this life game to get, for themselves. So it doesn't really matter. You have to live for you. Make your decisions and stand on it. Do not feel bad about it. Because anytime you're choosing you in the most positive and the most highest regard, and this is not with ego, this is not, saying that other people don't matter. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about when you are making a decision to love yourself and make firm decisions in who you are and trusting yourself. There is nothing wrong with that. The things that we are to create don't exist. That means that each of us has a responsibility to co-create with God. It doesn't exist yet because you're the person that is supposed to create it. Each one of us has our own intricate, detailed mindset, creativity, imagination that is supposed to do the things that we are supposed to do in this life. But in order to do that, you have to trust yourself enough to know that that is what you're supposed to do. I will see you guys on Tuesday with Tuesdays with Tamoa. We have a new video dropping tomorrow. Check it out. I love you guys. I love this community, and I appreciate you. So we coming on twice a week now. Twice a week, twice a week, twice a week. All right, sending you a lot of light and love. And remember, you are your greatest value. You are your greatest asset. Take care.